Now you've got this problem in The View. All right, so Bob Iger reportedly sat The View ladies down or communicated somehow to their EP rather recently that they needed to change their tone. Now, this had been going on for a while. I want to, full disclosure, we talked about it right here on the show, right after the election. I actually made the observation that somebody was talking to Whoopi Goldberg. I thought somebody was starting to talk to her because I was starting to hear a different kind of tonality, almost sounding like she was going to give the president, dare I say, a chance. Well, that was Iger apparently telling her, Whoopi, we got to shift. That was her producers after they fired them all, by the way, saying we're going to have to shift. Here's Whoopi making that seemingly MAGA shift.
I think what we're all saying is we're going to sit and watch. We're going to wait and see because we can't do anything else except.
I'm not going to wait and see. I mean, this guy is told us he's a retribution. He's going to be a dictator.
There's nothing to be done until you know what you're fighting. It's pissing in the wind doesn't help. You just get a wet face.
But what I'm saying is I have no false expectations that at 78 he's going to all of a sudden turn into a thing that's not human being. And I'm not going to spend, I spent weeks telling people that he was apocalyptic. I'm not going to change now because it's still the same man.
Not treating every single thing like
I think that's when we lose credibility.
Well, here's the thing. You lose credibility in many different ways. If you don't know what you're talking about and you accuse him of something, then they're going to blow it back. That's why I say we need to wait and see exactly what you're going to do.
So she knows her job is on the line. I actually believe her contract was coming up, which is why, remember in the original View that they were putting out for weekends online, she wasn't in it. I think that was partly contract negotiations. And then you had the big awards ceremony, right? The Oscars or whatever you call it. One of them, I get them a little confused, but I think it was the Oscars. And she got up there to present an award. I think that was part of the negotiation too, because it was airing on ABC. So she's talking to the bosses behind the scenes and they're saying, you can't go after Trump like that. It's getting old. It's getting stale. The viewers don't want it anymore. So they sit her down. They read her the riot act. They tell all the hosts this because they were going in up front recently. That's like the big, shindig, the big conference where you have advertisers come in and they're going to buy advertising on a show. Well, who wants to buy advertising on The View? Can I ask you? I mean, that's kind of... So they're trying to get them to shift. They were told, I understand, to actually focus more on entertainment and pop culture. But apparently some of them, like Ana Navarro, did not want to do it. And Sunny Houston did not want to do it. Joy Behar. I mean, it's like you're seeing their public... Well, you're seeing their behind the scenes fight out there in public. So they're having this back and forth with producers. Producer, the guy who runs the show, is sitting there going, what do I do with these women? I don't know. I think you just fire them all and get rid of it. You start over. And you know what? You're going to save a lot of money. Otherwise, you're just going to keep dealing with this.
And we're having a conversation.
Yes.
And we're going to go back to it. But before we do, I just want to say, this is the beauty of people who have different opinions. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes we're messy. And I don't know if you noticed that when I came out this morning, I had trouble trying to figure out because there was nothing in the thing. There's something in the air. So just know something is chewing on us.
Yes. You know what's in the air, Whoopi?
What's
Trumpism. We lost the election. Wait a minute. We lost the election. We're miserable. Half of this country is miserable. And let's just tell the truth. We hate that he won. We hate it. And everybody's uptight and crazy right now.
Well, then I'm going to say to that machine over there, you stop blaming me.
Okay, I'm going to jump in. You see what that's about there? She's saying, I'm going to stop saying to that machine, the teleprompter, what's in the teleprompter? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Because you guys don't want me to be anti-Trump. So she's trying to, this is after the election, right? And nobody else on her team is willing to follow her leadership, even though the bosses are telling her, you can't be this anti-Trump. I mean, for one thing, we got Brendan Carr, the FCC director, breathing down our back. They're suing us for DEI stuff, violation of the Constitution. We may not get our affiliate deals renewed all over the country. I mean, they're in a lot of trouble. And so Whoopi, who's seen as the leader, right, on The View, is being told, you got to get everybody on the same page. So she's saying, well, help me. I don't know what I'm supposed to say because there's nothing in the teleprompter and I have only one place to go, right? And Joy is out there saying, well, of course, we have only one place to go because we hate Trump and we're not going to change our minds about how much we hate Trump. Let's keep listening.
You do what you're supposed to do. You bring up the words I need to say. So what I need to say is we're going to go back to the convo that we were having.
You see? So that is her publicly arguing with her producers there, right on set, saying, you know what, you guys want me to be this? Then write it for me. Let me see it in the prompter.
Must we? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what that is. I'm telling you. And not everybody's on board. So I think Whoopi is. I think actually Whoopi is very commercial and she's made a decision. She needs to keep her job. So she's trying to keep the bosses happy. Bob Iger told her, this is what you got to do. And yet the rest of the team wants no part of it. I want you to take a look at this. So this is Sunny Houston, who's their quote unquote lawyer, who had to keep reading these legal notes, which became kind of a nightmare, right? Going into the election and thereafter. And so she clearly also does not have a thought in her head. Apparently, if it's not in the teleprompter or on her note card, she can't deliver it. Watch how she stares down at her notes. So somebody's feeding her this garbage, which tells me you've got a lot of people on different sides. The producers thinking one way, the talent thinking another, and you don't have people that have enough conviction internally, right, to actually speak what they believe, which is part of the problem with the entire show.
So Trump definitely doesn't understand economics. He's listening to someone who you say doesn't understand economics. And so there is no end plan. There is no game plan. He doesn't know how to negotiate. He couldn't negotiate himself out of a paper bag. But the issue here...
But his narcissism prevents him from listening to people.
From admitting that.
Yes.
And to Whoopi's point at the very beginning meeting, that clip that we played, that he's saying, everybody's kissing my butt. They're actually not, because China has accused the United States of blackmail and declared that Beijing would fight to the end. The Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has said its friendship with the U.S. is over. Australia's Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, said Trump's tariffs have no basis in logic, are not the act of a friend, and he called them totally unwarranted. Macron from France, he said the tariffs are brutal and unfounded.
Well, who said this? We went from the envy of the world to the enemy of the world.
Yes,
who said that?
I don't know who said that, but what I will say, from my perspective, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, no country can count on America anymore. They're going to ice us out economically. We're going to be on our own because they're not going to be able to depend on a country that every 4 years could elect a dictator. They can't rely upon us.
They have to stop it now.
So I'm thinking maybe Sonny didn't get the boss's order, right? Again, they are being told, knock it off. We don't think this is working for ratings, and it's clearly not working for the company overall. So do they actually cancel the show? I mean, that's the big question. The ratings have miraculously held up. And so Sonny and Ana Navarro and Joy Behar are sitting there saying, but, our viewers hate Trump. This works for us. And the people in the business office are saying, well, it doesn't really work for us because nobody's wanting to buy the advertising for this show. And it's not courting, apparently, the audience that we want. And then on top of it, you got the FCC that's become kind of a problem. And I don't think Donald Trump has a whole lot of respect, shall we say, for ABC, right? Remember Terry Moran, the guy who Trump was like, wait a second, this was your big chance, Terry. Like, what happened? I had never heard of you. This is why I gave you the gig. So he's an ABC reporter, and Trump thinks everybody's terrible at ABC. Well, this guy certainly wasn't doing them any favors either, right? Terry Moran. You wonder if he's going to get laid off over there. Let's take a listen.
Pretty close. Right up there. I campaigned on that issue. I've done an amazing job. I have closed borders. He said you couldn't do it. You wouldn't be able to do it. It would never happen. Well, it happened, and it happened very quickly. Wait a minute. When we have criminals, murderers, criminals in this country, we have to get them out, and we're doing it. By law. And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
But wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry. Terry.
He did not have the
do that.
letter MS13.
It says MS13.
That was Photoshop. So let me
That
just...
was Photoshop. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry, but you're not being very nice. He had MS13 tattooed.
Right, we'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture. We'll
and you think it
agree
was
to disagree.
Photoshop? Well,
Here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had
Fair enough.
MS13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine.
No,
sir.
Terry,
I want to get to
Terry,
Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're there
in
now.
your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
Well, we'll take a look at that.
You do such a disservice.
We'll take a look at that,
Why don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
It's contested.
Oh, wow. Well, between Snow White, between George Stephanopoulos, the Terry Moran disaster, and of course, none other than The View, I think they get a few problems at Disney, a few problems at ABC. We wish them luck. I think that you're going to actually see a lot more layoffs coming. Don't forget, ABC News was hit by hundreds of layoffs as recently as March. So here we are, March, April, May, June. Next quarter, you're getting more layoffs. It actually goes straight back to my thesis here that as this media environment changes drastically, you can't have the woke nonsense that's costing you a lot of money, that's not actually anything that anybody wants to see. And second of all, you can't have these expensive productions with your live studio audience that has to clap every time Joy Behar does whatever, right? They send the clapping signs out. That doesn't work in this brave new world. And so you look at, for instance, even subscriptions, right? Streaming subscriptions to Disney down. And the only thing maybe they can try and pull off would actually be ESPN, because I think that people will pay up for ESPN, and so they'll have subscriptions for that, but they'll have to make a real transition away from the cable model. And so we're watching this here on the front lines in real time, and it's sort of kind of just amazing, right? Like, it's like everything I told you was going to happen keeps happening every single day.